welcome back. Some of you may have seen my video before this. It's called Dear Therapist, and I want to do a kind of a follow-up to the video. I'd gotten some good responses, mostly positive, little little negative, but I've been thinking quite a bit, and I want to talk about kind of a dilemma that I had been going through, and I thought about HRT. Excuse me for my voice, I'm still practicing. Um, I had had a fantasy since childhood of being a woman, or kind of an attraction, and both an attraction and a fantasy and curiosity about what it would be like to be a woman. And um, I'd been working on my singing, developing my music, and this past summer, and I guess it kind of induced it. And so I wanted to share it all with you, and I put a lot of thought into it. And before you go any further, there's a therapist that I sought out. I wanted to talk this out, with somebody before I jump. I didn't want to jump right into HRT as much as at the time. My autogynephilia had been really kicking up as I was working on my music, and I thought maybe this would subside. It has subsided, and I still want to talk about it. There's an appointment coming up. It's a 15-minute consultation, and I really want to talk it through, and see if this is really a good thing for me in the long run. And in the meantime, I've been putting a lot of serious thought into whether this is a good decision or not. This is something I had never thought I'd ever do. When I started cross-dressing, I figured I could just wash the makeup away, and I could go as a guy. But as I began to watch Katy Perry and these female artists performing on stage, it reminded me of, well, it kind of induced the autogynephilia again. So I want to talk about that. In all my videos, I want to say that this is not a joke. I had posted some pictures earlier last year, and somebody posted. Most of them were very good comments, but somebody posted, don't be funny. It's not funny. I think she was just turned off by the very fact, the very idea of a man dressing up as a woman. And I want to say clearly that I do this with all due respect to women. I know that if I do go into HRT, hormone replacement therapy, that it is with respect to women. I'm not doing it for a gag, and I thought long and hard. I'm not saying I'm doing it, but when I put on this makeup, I try really hard to be as authentic as possible. You can see my eyebrows are done. Now my makeup may get better, hopefully, and that brings me to my next kind of the point of going into HRT or the benefits of HRT. When I began recently, when I began doing cross-dressing and starting this channel, I figured that because I had seen female impersonators looking so good, really really good, that I could just pull the look off. But when I see myself, I see a masculine face, and now I'm seeing why. There's somebody on Facebook, Mel Cross, and I thought it'd been a man, just with makeup, looking like that. But I think Mel Cross has. Now this is only my guess. I think it's with hormones. So now under estrogen, I have a man's face, and although it is kind of feminine, I was a little blessed. It goes straight down. The muscle fat distribution, I should say fat distribution, in the face clearly shows masculine. And under estrogen, this should shrink, the cheeks should enlarge, and thankfully, if I were to go on it, the face would look quite a bit different. It would look much more feminine, and I wouldn't have to go through surgery, and it would just look a lot more like passing. Now, there are other changes. I'm going to go into that in a moment, but I want to say that I thought I could do all this with makeup, and I want the experience. The whole part of the whole reason why I dress up is to try to learn the experience. It's both a combination of experiencing how people would interact with me as a woman, and feeling. It's very a sense of feeling. I like looking at myself as a woman. I'm attracted. It's a kind of a strange thing. I'm attracted to women, and I like seeing myself as beautiful, and there's a femininity that I like, and that's what I call autogynephilia. I know I can't be a woman. Biologically, I cannot be a woman. But if I were to take HRT, it's the closest I could get and look realistic. Now, I'm not, if I were to go to do this, I am not going to do bottom surgery whatsoever. Going to work on my voice too. I have to, because the body needs a certain amount of testosterone and estrogen, and what I want to do is, if I were to take HRT, is to merely shift testosterone to estrogen ratio. And there are a lot of things. If you take away the bottom parts, it would seriously damage my health and so forth. So I don't want to. I will not do that. It's more cosmetic and more for the body proportion. Okay, enough. I'll get into the next topic, which is about what I would expect under hormone therapy. So I've written down the effects that I expect to have. First of all, these are over the past 6 months. At the 6-month mark, I should have a lot of this occurring in my body. But in the first while, my skin would be softer, my pores would shrink, and my hair would be thinner. I probably wouldn't have to shave as often. I have an IPL already. Um, it's a it's a light. Through light. You do it on your body, on your skin, and prevents hair from growing. But I imagine this would help the process too. Um, and there would be emotional changes, and I thought that that's really something that I couldn't have merely cross-dressing. I could do really good role play. I could learn how to act as a woman. Um, but from what I've read, under hormone therapy, your mind actually shifts. You become more emotional. I'm just saying what I found. I'm not saying women are overly emotional. I'm just saying that from my research that you um, begin to um, cry more often, and actually that's something very good. As a man, one is conditioned to that you can't show emotions. Of course, I feel a little bit freer to show my emotions, but even I feel there are boundaries in terms of hugging, in terms of crying, and so forth. And it's very freeing, I guess, for a woman to be able to do that. Um, and so you'd have less body hair. You would have um, nicer, smoother skin. The pores would be smaller, and then the body distribution. So that's when I would get my face would down here would the body fat would shrink, and it would redistribute. So my cheeks would become larger. And I understand this is an ongoing process. By about 6 months, hopefully, it would look a lot better, a lot more feminine. And my male, male body chub would redistribute to my hips and my butt and my thighs. And that's why I'm still trying to lose weight, because I still want to remain in shape. And from what I've read, um, it's easier for a guy to lose weight than it is for a woman. So I want to look attractive. I want to look, as all right. This is the not narcissist. This is the autogynephilia maybe kicking in. Um, but I want to look, as beautiful as I can, and so I'm trying to lose weight, not critically, but just lose weight and keep a trim body. But my breasts will start growing like that naturally. There wouldn't be any more reason to have, body wouldn't be a reason to have hip pads and butt pads and artificial, the breast cutlets to maintain a feminine form. My waist should shrink, and uh, my my hips should increase. My waist should go down, and it would happen naturally, and no surgery involved. So I'm happy about that, and I still have to train my voice. And my Adam's apple, people have said that my Adam's apple isn't that noticeable. Um, I I don't know. Is it that noticeable? My I would look younger because of the skin and so forth. The skin changes. Um, Maybe that my skin would tighten. Um, Certainly here when I look at myself, like I'm looking at myself right now, and I'm seeing very prominent jawline, but the right here, right under here, the neck is sagging a bit, and hopefully that wouldn't happen under estrogen. Um, I'd have to look into that further. So aside from the hormones, I would have to work on my voice, and I want to wait until for it takes about 2 years for the process to all the changes to go in. They call it a second puberty, and I would want to see if my how far my breasts grow. Now, if they don't, I found that typically it would have like a small A cup, and some women, I guess, do have an A cup, but I would want like a C cup. And if they don't grow, to reasonable, realistic levels, there is implant surgery. Of course, that would probably cost money, but I'm looking into what's possible, figuring out a game plan. And I want to finally have my ears pierced. I want to go, maybe as a blonde. I have an attraction to mermaids, and I want to have, if you've seen Splash, Madison in Splash, kind of a sea, what they call a mermaid weave. I'd like to have that as a hairstyle. And I talked about body distribution. I talked about, in the mind, I'm thinking that I can be conditioned over time to first of all, do the voice better. And there are certain mannerisms. The legs, the thighs. There's a whole body redistribution balance shift. So maybe I'll be able to walk in heels, or at least I will be able to walk with my hips more. To me, the balance will naturally shift, should naturally shift, and there would be less, the knees would be toned a lot more. With the weight redistribution, I should naturally be walking in a different way, a little swaying of hips, although I've been practicing anyway as a cross-dresser. A lot of these different skills I've picked up should come in handy for if I should do this, but they won't, they'll come more naturally. And I want to go back to the emotional part. I think I've been emotional, not overly emotional, but as a guy, I've had a good sense of my emotional side as well as my logical side. But I think, from what I've read, the hormones will shift the thinking, so I will naturally be thinking more like a woman, and it'd be interesting conversations with other women if they could tell. So I also wanted to say, there was something else I wanted to talk about. The makeup. I won't have to do as much makeup probably. I won't have to study. I won't have to bug people about how you do this in order to hide the masculine face I have. Talked about the body, the fat redistribution. Talked about the piercing of ears. Yes, the sexual orientation. Now, I'm attracted to women, as you can probably tell, but I've read in some cases that that you can become attracted to men. I mean, those that are men that have hormone replacement therapy. Sometimes it shifts where you can start being attracted to men. I don't know if it doesn't. I hope so. I mean, there's a possibility. I should mention that why am I doing this right now? Well, you can't go back in time. I'm approaching 49, and if I have a kid in my 50s, um, first of all, this would the shifting of testosterone and estrogen will could render somebody runs the risk of rendering my fertility being infertile. So if I were younger, had I been younger, um, that would be definitely a deterrent. Um, but as I grew older, and I wanted this, I've been fantasizing about this since I was a little kid. Um, I don't, if I had a kid, first of all, I don't know, maybe I already am pretty infertile. But if I had a kid and I'm 50, and assuming, I find the right person and she has a child and so forth, um, when the person is, when the child grows up to be 20, I'll be in my 70s. Um, so it's basically late in life, and I've really wanted to do this. I've really been curious about what it's like to be a woman, and um, I want to talk about that. I guess save that for my discussions with my therapist. Again, I haven't, the therapy hasn't started yet. I just have a 15-minute consultation set up for this coming week, and I'll be able to talk about this with her and positives and negatives. And do I really want this in the long term, or is it just my autogynephilia, kicking in and it'll subside? It certainly has subsided after a while. It's not as strong as it was, but knowing me, I just like to have a game plan. If I do really want to do this, this is what to expect. This is how I go about it. This is what needs to be done, so forth and so on. All right, so the emotional side, all right, so infertility. So I go in knowing that there's a good risk of infertility. Let me see. The sexual orientation. So that's still one of the few things that I feel queasy about because I'm not going to have bottom surgery, and because I want to keep in good health, and I want to live as long as possible, obviously, and I want to maintain. I want to maintain a good, healthy level of testosterone as well as estrogen. So, in the mind, if I do shift to being attracted to men, I haven't found anybody. I'll get into this later. If I haven't found anybody yet, I've been looking for a Jewish woman, and haven't found her yet. Kind of feels like I'm becoming a woman to compensate. If I do change, all right. If I find somebody and it's a woman, would she appreciate me as a woman, looking like a woman? I shouldn't say as a woman, looking like a woman, but have below the waist, have a male anatomy, anatomical part. If I were to be attracted to men, would they feel awkward about that too? So that's one of the few things that still makes me awkward. I'm a guy, and um, guys and women have different, shall we say, alone time. And guys think when they're turned on, they pleasure themselves in certain ways. And so it's very important to me as a guy. How would that be changed if I were to go on hormones? I've From the research I've read, um, women have a very different. They do experience it too. Of course, my bottom male part would shrink as I would expect, and um, women, the estrogen would cause sensations all over my body. I've read that, at least in the beginning, the libido would go down, but hopefully, maybe there are ways I can keep it, make it go back up or prevent it from going down. But it would be nicely more like a woman. Um, the orgasm would be throughout the body, and I've read that it would last much longer for a woman and more intense sometimes. Of course, different women experience it differently, but maybe I can learn about this more and figure out how I can induce it in myself, so that were I, excuse me, were I to go into this, do this, and I do have a loss of libido, and the fertility and so forth goes down, that I could train my body, condition my body to be able to experience a female version. And from what I've read, it would be very interesting. Um, it would be longer lasting. I would be looking forward to that. And um, more, longer lasting, more intense. There would be, I guess, you could experience it, and other people wouldn't necessarily know that you're experiencing it. So that would be interesting. Not that that's the only reason for doing this, going down this path, but it'd be a nice change if it does change. If I go down this path, it would be an interesting difference. I've been looking carefully at the timeline, from based on what other people have said who have been on hormones, kind of like a timetable, and how long until it becomes noticeable, because I do work, and I expect to still be working if I'm doing this, and how long until it becomes noticeable, until, when my breasts start growing and my hips, my body changes, my face changes. um, I have to, at some point, change my name legally. And along that, I'd have to change my bank account. I'd have to change my driver's license. I'd have to change all sorts of things. Government first, then bank and Amazon and so forth. And I already picked the name, of course, Samantha. And I thought about, since I picked Samantha's based on one of my favorite TV shows, the character on my favorite TV show, Samantha Stevens in Bewitched. And I thought of her as very smart, very fashionable, and very empathetic, and witchy powers. And I've been interested in the paranormal, so I figured that would be a good name. And for a middle name, I'm kind of thinking of Deanna, based on Deanna Troi from Star Trek, whose powers in the show, she could sense people's, read people's emotions and telepathy and so forth. So far, that's what I'm going for. So how long, the question is, how long could I be incognito before I would have to come out, so to speak? I guess maybe 6 months, 4 months, something like that. That's another reason why I'd have to have a game plan set. Because after a while, of course, it would be very noticeable. And it would take about 2 years, from what I've read, 2 years to grow out my hair. So there's going to be a period where I may need a wig, hopefully one better than this. That's why I put a moratorium. That's why I put a moratorium on getting any new clothing. Of course, my financial status also helps keep that moratorium on in. But my body would probably change. I would shrink nicely. Um, I have a 10 and a half shoe size right now, men's. Um, but it's not that the bones shrink, it's that the muscles, the cartilage, should shrink a little bit. So I'm 5'7" right now, and I might go down to like 5'5", which is really good. Um, it's in keeping with women coming across, women tend to be smaller size. Um, of course, I said before, my hips would widen, my chest would enlarge, my waist would go narrow, and my hips would widen, and I anticipate that my male clothing would no longer fit after a while. So I've got to have before then. I've got to have some sense when it's approaching. So get some women's clothing to be prepared. Be thinking as I had been thinking. I want to be really careful and know that this is a good path for me in the future. That I'm not jumping into something I'll later regret. I thought back to why did I, why did this autogynephilia suddenly kick in so strongly? Why did I start thinking about all this? Well, a few months ago, I've been working on my music and drawing from my past, thinking about the albums that I would want to get out of my system. If I were to die the next day, what would I want people? What about me would I want people to know? I want to get all of that Jeffness out, and what would I want to share? Well, I came up with several albums worth of music. I haven't written the music yet. I'm working on that, but the songs, constructing a song list, track list, so to speak, for each album. And so I've been delving into my past, and I've been watching some singers like Katy Perry and JoJo Siwa and Belinda Carlisle, and seeing if I were performing. All right, so before all this, I was imagining myself performing in drag, hopefully with better makeup and everything, more convincing. But I was imagining myself in drag, and I might be able to pull it off. But I guess I felt so attracted to the idea of performing as a woman that that's where some of the autogynephilia kicked in, and the fear